Tonight the Stars Revolt by Gardner F. Fox, originally published in Planet Stories, March 1952. Read by Jon Gill. Part 20. In the time Angus had allotted him, Tandor had thrown up a small city of tents and wickiups along the stone ridges of the bloody cliffs. Here came the pirates from Yasanan, the starved soldiery from the star cities of Phaelot and Kur. Here were half-naked gypsy girls and camp followers, fighting men and muckers. Here were dishonored captains and untried youths who owned swords and a hot hunger to use them. In the red fire of an armorer's forge, Red Angus handled a ring-barreled gun that was powered by a portable dynamo set up on a small, two-wheeled cart. The armorer said, "It's weak and it's clumsy, but it's the best I could do. The electro-ray gets its power from the dynamo in the cart. Power travels along the fuel line to the breech. A tiny converter translates it into a thin beam of force. I've seen them in the museums. I made sketches. Given more time, I could do better." Red Angus put a grin on his lips and held it there by sheer willpower. His hand clapped the man on the back. He told him, "You've done fine, Yoth. Keep it up. Turn out as many as you can." The armorer shook his head glumly. "They won't be much alongside the dissentors that Style-Tay will have. Even their sonic beams will do more damage than this." Tandor came swaggering up to the half-naked, hairy-chested man who fought with blunted sabers and wore spears. There was dirt on his face and runnels of sweat on his barreled chest. He planted his legs apart, glowered at Red Angus. "You're mad as a priest of Grom. You keep us here when we'd do better by scattering to the 6 worlds," Angus said. "These are the toughest fighting men in the galaxy. If they can't fight the Citadel, no one can." "Once we get within sword sweep of the Dictator's guards," Tandor bellowed. He went up on his toes and waved his arms, and his veins stood out on his bald head. "As well get within sword sweep of Ashtal the Shameless," he roared. "The Dictator will sweep the streets with disintegrator beams when he sees us coming. Maybe you want to play martyr, but I've better uses for my life. Take that gypsy girl." Angus caught him by the fur of his cloak and shook him. "Forget your gypsy wenches. We go into the lower city at night, all of us, over a week's time. We bed down in different homes, loyal homes. A fortnight from now will be the night of the serpent, singing and dancing in the streets, wine, women." Tandor grinned. "Aye, that sounds good. At the hour of the dog, we hit the Citadel. There'll be so much roistering going on, we'll belt-whip every mother's son into the street that night and make 'em yell to cover our movements. No one will notice us. We hit the Citadel from every street. Some of us will get through. 10 streets, 10 companies, each of them a flying wedge to get inside and kill Style-Tay. That's our first job. After that," Red Angus talked on, sketching in the hot sands. He did not see a bandaged Thordad come out of a tent and stand there watching them and listening. Thordad turned away after a while and went back to the tent where he sat, shivering and staring down at his hands. Neither did Red Angus see him that night when he daggered a guard and fled on a Hummel across the desert for Car City. They found the guard, but guessed him as a victim of a jealous lover, for he had a reputation as a ladies' man. The days slid into weeks, and the fires burned and metal glowed, and the forges and the anvils never stopped. Swords and shields and spears, daggers and clumsy electro-rays were turned out for eager hands. They broke camp in the faint mists of an early dawn. On a U-neck camel and on foot, by cart and by stolen jet car, they left the base of the bloody cliffs. They came into Car City by 2s and 3s and hid themselves in the taverns and in the thatch-roofed houses. The city knew them, and the city swallowed them, and the city slumbered, waiting. In the tavern of the Spotted Stag, Red Angus paced the floor. Tandor, an arm around his gypsy girl, was sampling a new ton of imported wine. Moana was white-faced, pale and silent at the table. Angus said, "I don't like it. I don't like it. I have the feel of a wolf sniffing at the jaws of a trap." Tandor drew his lips from the gypsy's neck long enough to say, "It's quiet, isn't it? What more do you want?" "That's just it. It's too quiet. There are no Citadel guards out hunting me, no arrests for 5 days, no street patrols even." "Good. Then let's call it off and go back to Yasanan." "You'll like Yasanan, honey." Tandor nuzzled the girl's throat. "I have a big house there, much wine, better wine than this." Angus stared at the man through slitted eyes, reached for a goblet and lifted it. His hands poised the goblet. About to throw, Angus swore and buried his nose in the cup. He flung it from him, and it broke against the wall. The end. Thank you for listening.